Today's episode, we're going over our favorite boss battles we've loved playing, as well as some gaming news such as the new Resident Evil Village demo, the upcoming multiplayer mode, Xbox Live Gold membership prices, and more. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and YouTube channel so you don't miss any future gaming news. Yeah. So Randy, did you hear about the Resident Evil Village demo, the PS5 demo?
Yes, I haven't seen any footage of the demo itself. I just saw like the Capcom thing, the release of it. It looks interesting. I'm curious as to where like the story's kind of going with this, because it's no longer like solely zombies. But yeah.
New gameplay video. It's out now. You guys can look it up. So RE8 or Resident Evil Village, however you want to call it. It's out for PS5 owners. They can download it right now. I hate you all, whoever PS5. And there've been good reviews out there for it. A fairly short demo, it's about 20-minute demo, including some simping for this tall,
the 8-foot tall lady.
Yeah, that tall lady. Lady. I don't think they're clear on how tall she is, but she's as big as the door.
Bigger.
Yeah. And her name is Lady Dimitrescu, I think it is. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. So,
who cares?
So you said you haven't seen any footage though, right?
No.
Yeah, she's like just towering over you right at the end, and then she whips out like these nail claw thingies like Wolverine style and kills you in the end. But it was pretty cool. I like the footage. I like the demo. I looked it up, of course. I couldn't play it, which I will play soon. I'm actually glad for, because one of my former neighbors, he offered for me to jump on his system and play the demo. So I'll be happy for that. But it looks cool. It looks traditionally like, RE7. Of course, more graphically enhanced. Yeah. And the scares weren't really there. It was a couple of like cheap scares and stuff like that happens here and there. A little bit like some stuff falling, some like dead people, they're moving around about in some sort of way, like sneakily that you didn't notice. You basically just grab a freaking bolt cutter or a lock cutter to open up a couple of doors. You lead your way through, and a couple of what it seems like it's scripted events happen, and then you wind up in the end of the game. I'm not going to spoil what happens in between, because there's like another little somewhat of a boss battle, I guess you could say, but it was kind of cool. Kind of just picture something along the lines of that bug lady from Resident Evil 7.
I don't remember what her name was, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. the mother, mm-hmm. I guess it was the mother of the family. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So yeah, thumbs up for that. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. IGN's got a video, which I've seen on that, or try to play it yourself if you do have a PS5.
Marguerite Baker. Cool. That's the bug lady.
Yeah, the Bakers.
Yeah. So on topic of giant vampire lady, there's actually a article on her height. It says Resident Evil Village's giant vampire lady Dimitrescu's height discovered. Skimmed through it quickly, found out it is she's about 96 inches tall, or about 8 feet tall.
Oh Jesus! Did they do some like pixel math or some shit like that?
Basically, considering in this, it's like all the architecture that they're talking about. Yeah. And how tall the door frame would be for said, home of hers.
8 feet tall. That's interesting. I don't see what people see. Like, I don't find her attractive. Like, she's completely covered up. It's not like she's showing much of anything. She's got a cool face, I guess, but it's
I think also it's the implication without showing.
I don't know. I don't get it.
You don't need to show off skin to be like,
No, of course not. But what I'm saying is I don't see anything else either apart from that. Like she's not that attractive looking to me. She's tall. That's about it. Like,
she's thick as fuck.
I can't believe we're talking about this, but it's something that people are actually talking about, like how attractive this villain is in the game, and I don't get it.
I mean, to each their own, man.
Yeah, that's fine with me. It doesn't bother me none. It's just I just find it funny that people can find her attractive and I don't see a thing. So whereas like somebody like, you know, I could understand like somebody like Laura Croft or
which Laura Croft?
Person I could think of. Or either Laura Croft, honestly. I mean, I know the first. I mean, well, not the first one. The remake one. She's a bit too young, so that's kind of creepy. So yeah, that's kind of weird. But of course, like the original Laura Croft is what I'm talking about.
With the traffic cone movies.
Sure. I mean, I was a freaking kid when I you know I was a freaking kid, and I'm gonna admit this.
About being it as a actually, I want to hear where this is going. Go ahead.
I'm going to admit this to everyone right now. I tried that nude code that supposedly was out there, and it was bullshit because all it did was blow the model up and it killed you. So it was like this. It was like a fake code that people released in the internet. So when people tried it, all it did was kill your character, and then you had to start the game. You had to start the level over again, of course.
God, remember when that was a thing though? When like people try to get like nude cheats and shit in video games?
Yeah, nude cheats like Dead or Alive,
Blood Rain,
Tomb Raider, Blood Rain was the same thing. Yeah, people were fiending hard for that stuff, and yeah, I'm no different. I tried that shit when I was like 12 years old myself.
It's okay. That's that puberty kicking in, bro. Yeah. Or like the hot coffee thing in San Andreas.
Hot coffee mod. Well, that's now that's a bit different.
But what's funny about
people put the effort into hacking into that shit just so they can make it playable.
But what's funny is that technically it was already in the game.
Exactly though. Like they, instead of like just lying and saying there is a code or hey, or do this and do that, you know, they actually went about hacking the freaking game, finding the code and everything and trying to release it. And yeah, it wasn't necessary. The game was better without it.
Oh no, I'm not saying you needed it, but
yeah,
it's just funny that shit like that exists in games as it is.
It reminds me of some like old April Fools, like Game Informer, and when they were just a magazine. It was not Game Informer, Game Pro, I believe it was. I think it was Game Pro. And they would release April Fool's things. So and they would say how you can play as Akuma in Resident Evil 2.
The fuck?
I went crazy. I believed it because back then they didn't announce that it was an April Fool's joke. They would like just throw it. They would just throw it in the middle of pages and stuff like that. Like, hey, we found this out about the game, and then you know, eventually, like the next month, you'll find out it's April Fool's. But at that time, I read it and believed it was real, and I can't remember completely what it was you had to do, but I was pretty sure you had to beat the game with just the only bullet clips that you come with. And once you run out, you could only play with your knife. So you had to go through the whole game with just your knife, just your first aid spray, your bullet clips and your bullets that you started off with, and that's it. And if you can get through it, he apparently comes out of like one of those tyrant cryostasis chamber thingies, and you could play as him. So essentially what they went into so much detail too. What you do is like you hold the aim button and he does his little motion for a Hadouken. And then when you shoot, he shoots a Hadouken.
Oh wow!
And it's an instant kill because you shoot them and you kill them and then that's it. So I was like, oh, I gotta try this. This is for real. This gotta be for real. And I couldn't get past, I believe, like the second form of Mr. X with a knife only. I think it was like a second form when he was like a dog type of form.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember that, like when you were in the sewers. So I tried it and I just couldn't do it, and I just gave up at that point.
Well, they sure got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is, it doesn't seem that far off considering how like Capcom does kind of do shit like that. Like in Mega Man X, once you get all like the pieces of the armor, you could find a little secret spot in, I think it's Chill Penguin stage or Armor Armadillo. It might be Armor Armadillo. But like after this whole little minecart thing, once it flies off the end, you do a double dash, jump in the air, and then like top of the wall. Once you get there, you see Dr. Light, and he gives you the Hadouken. So that you could only use it at max health, and it instantly kills any boss that you hit with it.
Oh, that's funny. But that was for real though, right?
Yeah, that one was for real. So like hearing about Akuma doing that, like it's not that far fetched for Capcom.
Oh, okay, yeah, that does make sense. Yeah. Well, sticking with the Resident Evil theme right now, they released another part of Resident Evil news. Capcom announced a new multiplayer mode that's going to come with Resident Evil Village. It's called Reverse, Reverse. Mm-hmm. This mode is meant to celebrate the 25 years, the 25th anniversary of the Resident Evil series. So Capcom allows you to play as your favorite Resident Evil characters throughout the years, such as Leon, Claire, Chris, Jill, actually even Tyrant and Mr. X.
And Barry Bonds.
And I hope so. I would hope so. I didn't see any footage for that, but I would hope they'd have some other classic characters and stuff like that. It looks strictly like a versus PvP third person shooter. There's not much other info that's out there on how it plays, but they showed like I think it was Leon. He was shooting people, and then he died, and then for some reason he transformed into a tyrant.
What the fuck?
So it's like, I guess you get an opportunity to become infected or turn into something else when you die. I don't really get it, but it looked cool. It looked really, really like bare bones demo type of game. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't much to it, but it was interesting.
So sounds pretty cool though.
Yeah, it seems like Capcom's really trying for this whole multiplayer stuff, because that other multiplayer thing they came out with, RE3, was interesting. Resistance.
How did that play? Did you play it?
I didn't. I still have it on my hard drive. After I beat Resident Evil 3, I told myself I was going to play it, and I didn't. But I saw footage of it. It seems interesting, but I don't know how much the replayability is on it, because there's only a couple of levels. There's only so much you can do. And it's like you play as either the bad guy or you play as the group of people trying to survive the level. And then the bad guy, what he does is just sets traps throughout the level to try to kill the players.
Oh,
so it's like one of those asymmetrical PvP games.
Okay.
Yeah, you sounded disappointed.
Yeah, because that does sound a little disappointing. But I mean, oh well.
Yeah, and the thing is that I haven't heard much about it since it came out, so that's not really a good sign. And I don't think they're supporting it that much. Off. Yeah, I think it was just like a one-shot type, here, have fun, and that'll be the end of that. And that's probably what they're going to do with Reverse also, so I wouldn't be surprised. But we'll see if anything interesting comes about that.
I mean, at least it's showing that they're like trying to think of new things. Mm-hmm. So that's always good.
I don't know. They've always tried to do some weird PvP or online stuff, and it sort of tends to fail. So I guess maybe they're trying new things just to see what sticks, and nothing has yet. So maybe they're just hoping for the best for whatever they release.
Well, I mean, that's kind of all we can do also. Just hope for the best.
So in other news, aside from Resident Evil, Gabe Newell.
Tall vampire ladies.
And tall vampire ladies. Mm-hmm. Gabe Newell, the god and president of Valve, he announced, this is a quote I'm going to read from GameDebate.com. He says, "We definitely have games in development that we're going to be announcing. It's fun to ship games. Alex was great. To be back doing single player games, that created a lot of momentum inside the company to do more of that."
Ooh.
So could this mean the coming apocalypse we thought would happen when Half-Life 3 comes out is going to happen?
Probably.
Are you excited over any of this stuff? Like, are you hoping for like a Half-Life 3, Portal 3, or?
Half-Life, yes. Portal, not so much, because they kind of did miss the mark with 2, personally. Like, it was a fun game, but it was like Portal 1 was one of those games that they made with a small team. So kind of porting it out into the orange box, it was like here's some additional shit for like such a weight or whatever. But it was good for what it was. So trying to expound on it was like, maybe you didn't need to. Hopefully Portal 3, it's not as focused on, because it felt forced. The humor was funny, but then some of them were just like, okay, we get it. You know, you're still hyped about Portal 1, and so are we. That's why we have the game. But I don't know.
I mean, it's Portal and Half-Life, I'm going to say both. They kind of have this reputation of being very well done when it comes to story, dialogue, writing. So they're kind of up there with like movies. So if you're going to make a sequel to a movie, the writing has got to be right and the story's got to be right.
Mm-hmm.
So the gameplay is already going to come, because the gameplay could probably stay exactly the same and people will still love it.
Oh, hell
as long as the story is there and the humor, you know, for Portal is there and all that. So yeah, I would hope they're careful with what they do with the franchise. And Gabe Newell, obviously he's taken this long already to make a Half-Life 3, so obviously he is careful with what he's doing. So hopefully
you mean it took this long to make a Half-Life Alex?
yeah. So I'm excited for it myself. I'm a huge Half-Life fan. I've played it a million times. I'm hoping they touch more on, you know, who the G-Man is. I'm sure they'll think of something more innovative, just like they did with Half-Life Alex. You know, they still, in a sense, have a gravity gun, just a gravity hand instead. Like instead, it's a more handheld type of thing. So that was a bit innovative, and I'm hoping they'll do something more innovative in the next iteration as well. But yeah, story wise, I'm really interested more about the G-Man, like what's going on with that.
Next, we're gonna get Half-Life G instead of Half-Life 3.
Half-Life G. Yeah, no threes, but we're probably going to avoid threes.
Yeah, they're allergic to 3. Come on. We have Left 4 Dead 2, and the third one that's coming out is fucking Back 4 more. Like,
I think that was a licensing thing that they had, though. I don't think it was because they were avoiding it. I can't remember the specifics on why, but I think they had some licensing issue, or they lost it somehow. Well, or they weren't allowed to do it anymore.
Make Left 4 Dead 4 after fucking Back 4 more comes out, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah. Well, so you'd probably stick with the Left 4 Dead if they released them.
Oh, definitely. It's even though it's the same game all the time, it's still fun.
All right. So we got one more piece of news. This is gonna take a bit of explaining.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've heard about this. We haven't really got to talk about much this week, like me and you texting or anything like that. But last week, Microsoft announced that they were changing the price of their subscription service, Xbox Live Gold. So this was their pricing plan, their original pricing plan. It was $9.99 for 1 month, $24.99 for 3 months, $39.99 for 6 months, and $59.99 for 12 months. So you're paying $60 for a year. They decided to change this to $11 for 1 month. This is just like a $1 difference. $30 for 3 months, $5 difference. And 6 months jumped to $60. This means if you wanted a year membership, you're paying $120. So naturally, the gaming community went wild and they went off on Microsoft. I saw it on Twitter everywhere. They're venting about the ridiculous price gouging and just everything against Microsoft. So the news this week is that they apologized and retracted what they said and decided not to change their pricing model. So what are your thoughts on that?
It's good that they fucking went back to what it was before. Fucking no. But what was it, 120 again for a year?
It would have been 120 for a year.
So then you're better off just paying for a fucking month normally. Nothing seems to have changed there.
Exactly. Do it on a monthly basis. You're just paying up front, I guess. Is the whole thing. Like you're just paying for the year and then you just forget it. But why? I guess what they're doing is they're offering the free Xbox Game Pass for free. I guess that's their value content that they were saying, oh, that's why it's worth it. But PlayStation may not have a pass, but PlayStation, you still get free games on top of still getting to play online for $60 a year. I don't understand what their idea was for this. Like, why does there always seem to be something with Microsoft? They're always trying to sneak as if they're trying to like innovate, but rather it just angers the community, which leads to an apology and like they even change their policies because of it.
Because there is no innovation if okay, so everything that they're doing seems to be benefiting only them and not the consumer. Like, yeah, sure, the Game Pass has all these games for free, and they're not really messing. They're not losing money as a company by having that. So the price hike makes no sense. PlayStation, yeah, they have the whole 3 games a month, but that's like what, 2 games that you get for free?
Yeah, and as long as you're hoping if they're good.
Yeah, so you don't need to get them. It's just whatever the fuck they like dish out. And then even then, if you do want to play other games that you don't like, that you wouldn't have access to right away, I suppose, there's still the PlayStation Now thing that they have,
right?
Which is kind of like the Game Pass, but obviously it's also kind of monthly subscription thing.
But it's also optional.
Yeah, it's completely optional, and it's still within a reasonable price also. Because you can have it, it's like what, $9.99 a month if you do it for a month.
I'm not sure. I'd never done it. I never needed to do it.
Oh, it's actually $20 a month.
20 a month. I mean, it's still not bad.
No, that's honestly still great because you have so many games.
Exactly, you get to play as much as you want. Essentially, this is like they like to force these ideas onto the consumers, and just like you said, it's mostly to benefit them, but they try to make you think that it's for you, for the players. Like, for example, there was the pricing for the Xbox One, which forced you to buy a Kinect sensor, which raised the price on that. That was an example of something that they did, and they kind of backed up on that way after it was released, but nonetheless, it wasn't a very popular idea. There was a policy they made when they almost forced players to lock their games into their console and not be able to play most of the games without internet service. And you know how well that went. Oof. So it's like, I don't know what they're thinking. They were on a really good roll, and then they spring something like this.
Man, that's no. They're honestly just like getting worse and worse and worse. Even with the new console that they had.
With the Series X?
Yeah, just like the pricings and shit. I don't know. Everything that they're doing is just a massive inconvenience.
Yeah, I mean, I still very much disagree with how they went with the pricing system for this Xbox Series S thing. Like, you're getting half the console for only $100 less, whereas the PlayStation, you're getting $100 less, but the same console. You just don't have a CD drive.
Yeah,
that's it. So I don't get it. I really don't get it. This puts me very much off with Microsoft again. Oh. Yeah, exactly. I laughed and then I sighed, and then I was just like, yep, we're going to talk about this.
Because it's like, it's funny to see them backtrack, but then it's also irritating to see them think that the 120 for a year would have, flown normally.
What do you mean?
Okay, so they did try to implement the whole 120 for 12 months of the Xbox Live. So clearly somebody thought that was going to be okay, as opposed to the $60 for 12 months.
Oh yeah, and the thing is that I'm sure the person that gets most of the blame for it, because I would assume that the person who gives the final okay is Phil Spencer, head of Microsoft. So Phil Spencer, he's the one who did the apology. Let me read something on IGN real quick, actually, since we're talking about that. He says, "We messed up today and we're right to let us know. Connecting and playing with friends is a vital part of gaming, and we failed to meet the expectations of players who count on it every day. As a result, we have decided not to change the Xbox Live Gold pricing. We're turning this moment into an opportunity to bring Xbox Live more in line with how we see the player at the center of the experience." Bullshit.
What?
Free-to-play games will truly be free and will no longer need an Xbox Live Gold membership to play those games on Xbox. We're working hard to deliver this change as soon as possible in the coming months. End quote.
The gamer was never in the center if that was a fucking thing.
Yeah, that was a fucking corporate ass apology. Yeah, you clearly don't have the players in mind with the decisions that you've been making for the past 3 generations of systems. What is going on?
That's just greedy.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. Again, I'm hoping for the best for Microsoft system wise. I'm It is more powerful than the PlayStation, very slightly, but it is, and I'm hoping that they have some good games out there to come out, and I'm still going to support them by still buying the system, but
the full system, not the half system.
Yeah, the full system. But if they stuck with this pricing plan, I would have refused to do it. Like if I would have been stuck with just an Xbox and I'm stuck just playing single player games, and so be it. I would not have gotten a new gold membership for $120 a year.
No.
So yeah, that's it for the news there. We'll leave it at that because we can rant and vent about it forever, just like we did with Cyberpunk.
Of course. So, like 2 weeks straight.
Yeah, we'll leave that and we'll go on to the next segment, which is we're going to start talking about our favorite boss battles that we've played throughout the years. We'll be right back. All right, Randy. So, ladies first.
Ladies first. All right. So after you then.
All right, I'll go first. I think you went first last segment, last episode. So
let's roll dice for it. How about that?
How do we do that?
I got you. I got dice in front of me right now.
All right. Well, how do I know you're not cheating?
Well, okay. Anyone that cheats on a dice roll, you can't trust them with anything, bro.
And that's why you'd make a good D&D player.
What do you want? Odds or evens?
Evens.
Evens? Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a 3. Here, let me send you a picture of it too.
You'll send me a picture? Okay.
Yeah, got you right now. My phone's right here. I even rolled it on the floor away from me. So
we didn't even establish though. So was it the loser that starts first or the winner?
The winner.
Oh, so you won. Okay. I don't know why I was expecting a D&D dice for some reason, like some 20-sided die.
Oh God, no, that's in my bag. No, this one is funnily enough, it's gonna kind of segue into the first pick just to get like the casual, well, not casual. I'd say the predictable choice, if anything. I bulk ordered 6-sided dice from a Kingdom Hearts board game. Well, a Kingdom Hearts version of it.
They have a board game?
It's a rendition of another one. I forgot what the hell it was. The point is, the one is the crown. Cool. So the first one, or one of the favorites, would be the final boss battle in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Mm-hmm.
It always gives me the chills. It's just really cool, beautifully animated. I could go on about it forever, but I'm not going to. So yeah, go ahead, take it away.
Well, I mean, what makes it so epic for you, though?
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can go into it a little bit.
All right, deep dive. Fuck it. So pretty much, you start off.
Okay, that's enough.
I guess it'll be right. It'll be the final phase of the final boss fight, where it's just Sora and Riku fighting alongside each other to fight Xemnas. Once he gets to the point of like getting to the final part of it, that's when the whole reaction command goes off, and you see that they're like literally back to back in the whole like bubble of lasers, and all that deflecting. It shows just how from one and Chain of Memories they were super far apart. Riku was part of darkness, Sora was part of the light, but now they're together again as friends. So it's like really neat. And then Ryu gets the shit kicked out of him. Sora, they put their powers together and they fucking shoot him. Awesome. But yeah, it gives me chills all the time. Almost brings me to tears. And in one of the intros, they kind of like allude to it for Dream Drop, and it chokes me up all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's really neat.
I do remember that scene. I remember it was actually pretty cool. Like it was almost like Dragon Ball style, where they were just dodging and blocking everything while still fighting them at the same time, and
because it's over the top while still being within the realm of Kingdom Hearts.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a really sweet fight. I like it.
Cool. Okay. All right. Well, I think my first pick would be just as obvious.
A Destiny raid?
It is definitely a Destiny raid.
Ooh.
So Destiny 1, the Taken King expansion was probably one of my favorite expansions of the series. And it was a big deal story-wise, too, because it finally showed like a big bad boss from the Hive, like basically the king of the Hive. And he also has these powers where he, in a sense, he almost like takes your soul, he converts you and changes you like into like this evil demon type thing, which is called a Taken. And he has armies of them. Like he could just take anybody he wants. So you attack him, you fight him. He's a typical final boss at the end of the story. And for a while throughout the lore, while you're playing the single player campaign, it's just, little hints of like, oh, he's still alive. Where is he hiding? Where has he been? So the raid starts and you go through all his like acolytes, all his like higher ups and stuff like that throughout the raid, fighting these bosses. And you finally get to him and he's fucking enormous. he's like as big as his ship. So he's just giant, and you're fighting him as a giant. And the raid mechanics are insanely detailed. What the it's probably one of the hardest raids, also, I would say, because every single person on your fire team has a job to do, and if you fuck up even the littlest bit, you have to wipe and start all over. So it was very, very detailed.
Start like the whole boss fight, or
start the whole
raid?
Boss fight over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was really hard to do, but as soon as it happens, it ends in an epic like last stand where you like just shoot him and then you kill him and then he like kind of crystallizes or something and floats off into space and kind of just drifts off and dies. But it's the whole thing from beginning to end was freaking amazing. It was definitely one of my favorite raids, my favorite boss fights, one of them anyways.
I forgot to mention his name.
Oh, Oryx. Oryx, yeah. I said the Taken King. A lot of people refer mostly to Taken King, but yeah, his name is Oryx.
Oh, that's a mouthful though. Just say Oryx.
Yeah.
Okay, man. He looks a lot like Diablo from Diablo 3.
Yeah, I could see that.
But just like a more brolic version of him. Like, yeah, big, meaty.
And I'm excited right now with not to get too sidestepped on it because I just want to geek out about it a bit, but I'm excited right now because they're hinting at, so in the lore, Oryx has a sister, and the sister is just as powerful, if not more powerful than him. But they don't really touch on it because the sister, she's more of a conniving witch. Like she's sneaky, she's quiet, she hides in the shadows type of thing. We've never seen her. We don't know what she's capable of. And for the past 2 seasons of Destiny 2, they've been hinting at her showing up eventually. So we're waiting until September when they usually drop the biggest DLCs, and we're probably going to get to see her and fight her and see what she's all about and stuff too. So I'm excited for that.
I should probably start Destiny 2 on PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, I could help you out with that. That's it's so much fun. I think what I would tell most people is that if you can't get into it because of like the gameplay and stuff like that, at least like look up videos and look up the lore, because the lore is so ridiculously deep and there's so much detail to it. Like the world is like enormous. I'm surprised there are not any like novels out there. There are no books of Destiny out there that you can go out and read.
Wow, you would think that there would be, actually, considering how like Halo had so many books.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, exactly like that. Like Halo has this huge world and many, many books, just expanding it even more. And Destiny doesn't have that yet. I don't know why.
You should write one.
I'm not worthy of that.
You should write one.
My vocabulary is not that extensive.
You should write
It'll be a lot of fucks and asses, like just those words everywhere.
And just who's the author? The Drunken Guardian.
The Drunken Guardian. Drinking mezcal the entire time I was reading it.
Every single page is stained with it.
So you had another boss battle?
Yeah. I guess this is like a 2-parter in a sense. So there's this game. It's really fucked up. It's a 3-game series, but the second one is the one that's like an actual RPG, if anything. But it's called Lisa.
I never
Have you heard of it?
No.
Well, that was funny that as you said that. It's depressing. It's a really fucked up game. But the final boss battle has, how to put it? The final boss himself has 3 phases.
This was for what system?
It's the PC. So you can just get it on Steam. It's there. The final boss himself has 3 phases, but before that, you have to like kind of fight his lackeys. And with that, I think it's 3 kind of phases where you fight like 3 waves of 5 guys continuously. But the whole premise is that all the women of the world are eradicated, and it's just like a wasteland of men. This baby shows up, and Brad, the protagonist, he finds her, and he's like, "Shit, I have to keep her a secret because after years of no more women, you know, guys are gonna be fucking gross."
That's weird.
It's very strange, but basically, she grows up and she's in hiding the entire time until like she ends up kind of getting kidnapped. But you go to find where she is, and after like encountering her a few times, she's like, "Oh, I know what I have to do. Like, I could save civilization." But the entire time, Brad is like, "Oh, I'm just trying to protect you." So Brad, there's a drug called Joy. Joy is kind of like every single upper you could think of in a pill.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to feel something, he'll normally do that, and he'll be like all happy and whatever. It's a mechanic in the game where you could either suffer withdrawals because you don't like give him the drug, or you could stay as an addict. So that's really neat.
Huh.
Yeah. But towards the end, like if you decide not to like, there's also this other combat alter. I just like don't want to give too much away, but there's certain things that in the game that will like completely fuck you up because you fight with your arms and your legs, but you could lose your arms, and then it changes up your commands entirely.
Like you lose them permanently?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it's like permadeath in the game, sort of.
Yeah.
But
or permalim.
Permalim, yeah. But yeah, no. So basically, like as you go to save her, you're progressing through the waves to get to the final guy, and the further you get into it, the more distorted the background gets because he's literally driven mad with anger.
Okay. So, I'm looking at the graphics. It's like a side scroller.
Yeah, it's an RPG Maker game.
It reminds me, like graphically, it reminds me of like Drawn to Life.
Oh yeah,
like I'm sure it doesn't play that way, but it just looks like it was used like the Drawn to Life engine or something.
But yeah, so after like you kind of get more backstory, you find out who like the kind of final boss is, which is like the leader of this whole gang that's going on. If you're still looking at the images, it's the guy with the red mask and the horn.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah. So he's this like buff ass dude. You're fighting him, whatever. But as you're fighting him, he kind of refuses to fight back, and you start to wonder why. And it's a really long game, so fuck it. I'm just gonna like get into spoilers. Big deal. You start to wonder why, and the more that you beat him, the more his mask starts to crack until eventually it breaks entirely, and he recognizes the main character, obviously. And in one of the flashback moments, Brad had like adopted this kid that was like in an abusive home, but the guy that's also an antagonist, Buzzo. There's like a lot of characters, fucking A, like explaining it so much. But point is, Rando is the adopted son of Brad.
Okay.
And you don't find that out until like the very, very end.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that, it's like, oh shit. So it's heartbreaking to kind of experience, like to see that happen, because the whole time it's like Rando, he kills anyone like without like a second thought or whatever the case. But then when it comes to him, he can't fight him. So it comes down to the point that you're just wailing on him, and his turns pass, and it says that like he's crying or like he's shaking in fear or just anything like along the lines like that. So it's a very emotional part. Like he's trying to get her back. He's kind of this. He's seen as a monster now in her eyes because of all the killing he's doing, but he's doing it for her good. Emotional fights are fun for me.
That's cool. Yeah, it seems like you really prefer story, something that hits you like more emotionally than anything else. Yeah,
but the game also has like a lot of funny moments. It's fucking retarded. You should definitely give it a shot if you like RPGs, because it's a lot like Earthbound, that some of the buffs and debuffs are unconventional.
I love RPGs. Weird. The problem is like, do I have the time to play them though? Because if it's a short RPG, then sure. But right now, like I'm playing Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I'm already like, oh my god, this is gonna be a long game.
Oh, definitely. I mean, eventually, somewhere along the line, if anything, I'll just record it and play it for you. Fuck it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, do some streaming yourself, man. Do some streaming and play the game. I'll watch that shit. But so for me, I'll tell you a second one. Not as expected as most would think, I guess. I mean, a lot of people that personally know me, they know like I love Metal Gear. Metal Gear 3 wasn't really much my favorite game of the series. I'll probably say 4, just like for the story and the emotional, just everything that happens towards the end and stuff like that.
And the 45-minute cutscene.
Oh God, so many cutscenes. The freaking ending was an hour and a half. But anyways, yeah, that's a whole other thing. But Metal Gear 3, one of my favorite boss battles in the whole Metal Gear series is the battle with the End. Do you know who that is?
Oh yeah,
that was amazing.
Yeah, it's funny because I was going to say the boss like next, but wow, go ahead.
Oh, the boss from Metal Gear.
From 3.
Yeah. For the End, what I loved about it is you can either take your sweet ass time doing it properly, the way I would assume that Hideo Kojima wanted you to do it, was basically, you're hiding in the grass, you're taking your time, looking for like the glint of his sniper rifle and like, shoot him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're doing it, rinse and repeat. You can sometimes run around, you find his parrot somewhere, and his parrot will kind of lead you to the end. For those, I said the end, so I don't know if anybody realizes
not the end of the game.
Not the end of the game. The End is the name of the boss. There's there's characters like the Sorrow, and then there's the End. So the End is this old man who's in a wheelchair, but he is like the most world-renowned like sniper ever. And you fight him in a very large map. Lots of grass, lots of greenery, lots of trees. It's all in the jungle.
Lots of zones too.
Yeah, different zones. So you're essentially just hunting him, trying to shoot him down in this large area.
While he hunts you too.
So he's shooting you from far away as well. And odds are you probably won't see it coming. So what's great about this battle is that you can either play it that way, which is like this high tense like game of, cat and mouse, or you can you could literally just save the game, turn off the console, restart it, change your time and date to like somewhere in the future.
Just a week.
Yeah. Reload the game, and the End dies of old age. He's already old, but he just dies of old age. He just dies of just sitting there waiting for you. Natural causes. So you just find his dead body with his parrot there just chilling, and then you just take whatever weapons that he left behind. It's hilarious.
And funnily enough, there's like another way to beat him at the docks.
Yes, at the cutscene. Yeah. So yeah, there is another way to beat him. You can actually fight him. You can actually kill him before you actually get to his boss battle. And there's a scene where one of the villains is wheeling him around along with like the main antagonist. And there's a very small window where you're able to control Snake and aim at the End and shoot and kill him before they wheel him away. So if you can get that done, you don't even have to fight him in that area. So there's all these like crazy creative ways, and it was so freaking funny. And like originally when I first fought him, it was the regular way, which was so fun anyways. I enjoyed every minute of it, as frustrating as it was. But it was so good. It was so creative. Like I think it was up there with like Psycho Mantis, with like how creative like you can
fucking player 2 slot.
Yeah, like switching game controller slots and stuff. Like it was so good.
Yeah, that one was really fun actually. Well, actually, a lot of the fights in 3 were fun.
I didn't like so much like I can only remember the Sorrow, where you're like walking down the river and you see all the souls. Yeah, you saw all those spirits, and it was okay. It was cinematic for sure. It wasn't like bad to look at or go through, but it wasn't that much of a boss battle.
Yeah, his not so much, but it's more so a lot of like the hidden mechanics and shit that you could do in 3. Because like when you face off against the young Revolver Ocelot, you could like shoot off his beret, or you could shoot like the hornet's nest, or stock up on a lot of like wasps and throw them at him. And he'll like be stunned for a bit. Yeah. There's like a lot of shit that could be done in that one. So it's nifty that all of these bosses had different mechanics to them that you could either exploit, like the end. Again, you could wait a week and he dies. You could hunt him down normally, like taking his parrot, and then he'll fly to him, and then that happens. Or killing him early.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the Vulcan fight, if you wear the mask of the guy that looks like Raiden, whoa, hello. If you wear the mask of the guy that looks like Raiden, he actually lets you like get a cheap shot in because he's not like Snake.
Yeah, yeah.
Granted, it's really weird how that moment goes down, but
yeah, let's not talk about the crotch grabbing.
I wasn't going to mention it, but there we go. But yeah, it's a pretty good game. The boss fight was also really interesting, like just in terms of story as well. But yeah, damn, now that you mentioned the end, I'm like, is the boss really my favorite?
Yeah, I mean, when you mention like the emotional impact that the story and like the whole event happens, like it makes sense that the boss could be a really good boss fight for you, because that's an emotional thing that you're fighting your mentor.
Hell yeah. Damn.
Can't decide.
I know. It would still be the boss. Yeah. Honestly. Oh, Borderlands 2. Did you play that one?
I played it, never beat it.
Did you fight Mordecai's bird?
No.
I don't remember the name of it. But basically, Handsome Jack kidnaps Mordecai's bird, and she's like fucking massive. And he has a collar on her that like keeps changing her elements.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes through all the elements in terms of like, what is it? Fire, shock, corrosion. I don't know. Fucking point is that that's what it does. So then the entire time he's like taunting you, and he's like, oh, like there's this and this and this. So then you get her down to 0 HP. She falls down, and then she falls down because Mordecai like puts a trank shot in her. So he's trying to get her back. So the entire time he's like in the background, kind of helping you out. So once she's like sedated, you go to take the collar off, and he's like, oh wait, there's one more fucking element that I forgot. Explosive. And he blows her head up. And Mordecai goes fucking ballistic, and everyone on that board, he just one shots them.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. I was not expecting that. But that one's a really good fight too.
Okay. All right.
And it's sad.
I had a hard time going through this list of boss battles and stuff. Because obviously we can think of more than 5 or 10 or 20, but there was a bunch of Square Enix games, or not Square Enix games, but just a couple of Square Enix games that a couple of boss battles that stuck out to me. I'm going to name a couple of these boss battles. These are not the ones that I'm going to choose, but that I was stuck with though. I had Emerald Weapon, Ruby Weapon, both from Final Fantasy VII. And then I had Lavos, which was from Chrono Trigger. Did you get to play Chrono Trigger at all?
Nope.
So
I've been wanting to, but I know that's going to take up a lot of time.
Yeah. It's a long game, but Lavos is the final boss, but you can actually fight him like way in the beginning of the game, essentially, if you wanted to, if you had the right strategy and stuff like that. So that's what was interesting about that boss battle. And of course, epically, pretty much every boss battle in Shadow of the Colossus. So I had a hard time trying to choose something from there if I wanted to choose that as one of my favorite boss battles. So those are like, I guess, honorable mentions, but my final boss battle, which is probably by far my favorite, is Savior Sephiroth, the final boss battle in Final Fantasy VII. So I guess most people can guess that, being a Final Fantasy VII nerd, but that boss battle, as ridiculous as it can be, because he's literally summoned a comet or a meteor or whatever you want to call it that destroys the entire solar system and then just hits your party for 9,999 points or some shit like that. So the Earth for some reason still lives and it is they're still intact, but it was a fun summon that he does. His whole character model is super cool. This like epic climax to this long game with amazing story. As bad as I understand, like a lot of people are happy with like how the game was translated, but I think what also did it for me was the music. So everybody knows Sephiroth's like theme music,
One Winged Angel.
Yeah, the One Winged Angel, and that theme was the Savior Sephiroth battle. That's the only time you ever really heard that song was during Savior Sephiroth's boss battle. He went through a couple of forms. He went through the Genova form and all this and that. But when you saw the One Winged Angel, Savior Sephiroth, that song came on, fucking epic. And just everything together with that battle was great.
Yeah, no, I could definitely agree with that. You do know that 7 is also on Steam, right?
Like 7 is on everything.
Yeah,
like,
I have it, put it on PC and stream.
Yeah, I have it on my. I mean, I could have it on PC, but I have it on my. I had it on my PSP. I had it on my my DS. Did I have my DS? I've had it on quite a few systems. I know that, and I every time I play it, every time I get a new system, I have to start all over. So it's like I think the idea of me starting over again if I download it on PC kind of like irks me. Whereas I'd rather just like get out of Midgar, and that's when like the game really picks up.
You're like, can I just get a save file from there, please?
Yeah. I'd rather just like skip the whole Midgar stuff and then really move on to like the good stuff. But I don't know, that's a good thought though. I could probably think about that, especially once we get a release date for the next Final Fantasy 7 game. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, just like play until you leave Midgar. And then stream afterward. So
True.
You can, like, get like the full enjoyment on stream.
Yeah, that's a good point. You got any other ones?
Would the entirety of Guitar Man count as like a whole boss fight thing?
No.
No, but I mean they're not just like little lackeys. They're all bosses. They have their own.
It was the same reason why I didn't choose like all the bosses of Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh yeah, right, because it is a whole boss rush. Fuck. No, okay, so if I had to pick from that game, it would definitely be Mojo King B, the third stage.
Uh-huh.
That song is my favorite.
It was the music, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the entire thing is music, so they all they have their little boss songs. But yeah, that one definitely. Then, yeah, okay. I could say it's hard to pick for spot 2, but spot 1 is definitely that one. It's so colorful. It's like a little kind of jazz song. I don't know. It's cute, especially with all like the little woodland animals that are in it.
Yeah, Parappa the Rapper's better.
Oh.
No, it's not. It's really not.
Okay. You want to turn this into a debate fucking episode? You can do it.
No. I actually do really miss Guitar Man. They should do like someone. I heard they're doing another Parappa the Rapper. That's just rumors, but I would love another Guitar Man.
At least fucking port it to like the new consoles.
Yeah.
I don't even want it to look like brand new and crisp.
Do they not have it on the PS Now store?
No, sadly not. On the PlayStation 2, it looks gorgeous, and on the PSP, they had to like kind of compress everything, but it still looks really nice. Mm-hmm. Just port it. Come on, Sony, please. I want it. I need it.
Well, I mentioned, I didn't mention, but I wanted to mention that I want to give some shout outs to some of the followers and listeners of the podcast, the Instagram and the TikTok page for the Drunk Guardian. I passed out this question, what's your favorite boss battle? And I wanted to name a few of them so we could talk about those as well. On Instagram, HRBirdo13, he says Final Fantasy X, the final battle where you fight all the summons in a gauntlet before fighting the final summon. That was vaguely familiar for me. Because I remember some of the boss battles and it was actually really good. Do you remember Final Fantasy X at all?
Me? Yeah. Kind of vaguely. I know that I watched him play it, but a lot of the memories, like, I remember him doing the celestial weapons more than anything.
Yeah, those are a pain.
Yeah.
But I mostly remember just like the final boss battle, which was very annoying.
Oh, Yevon?
Yeah, Yevon.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also says Ace Combat Skies, which really surprised me.
Inception.
Yeah, exactly. Holy shit, you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, actually, when he mentioned, I was like, oh my god, Ace Combat. I would never thought anyone to actually mention that, but that was actually really good, a really good battle. So I'm actually really surprised that you remember that as well,
dude. The Ace Combat is one that like I'll look up videos of it. I'll watch somebody else play it, but I've always wanted to get into it. It's just really hard for me.
I prefer arcade style like combat like that. Like that wasn't really. I guess they kind of went the simulator route a little bit more than like previous versions. But I like the Ace Combat stuff. I like just like Crimson Skies. You remember Crimson Skies?
Vaguely.
Yeah, it was a arcadey type of flight or plane shooter, but it was set in like the I can't remember. I'm gonna butcher the time era. But it was like the 1940s, 30s, 20s, some shit like that. So it was back in the day type of fighter, jet fighter or plane fighter combat. It was pretty cool. Good story too. So on TikTok, I got a couple people who hit me up about what they liked. I love them all. Of course, number one, JR loves you. This JRX loves XU. Oh, he says Destiny's sweet. Crota. And I know you won't know this one, or would you?
Did I fight Crota in Destiny? I don't think so.
Okay.
Son of Oryx.
So, the dark, was it called the Dark Below? I'm pretty sure that's what this. It's the
Crota's End.
Crota's End is the name of the raid. Yes.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't play that one. Yeah. For Destiny, I played the Hive Mind. I think. I don't know.
Hive Mind. Well, so the Crota fight, the whole raid was the first expansion for Destiny, which was Crota's End or the Dark Below. Sorry. And Crota's End was the name of the raid. You fight Crota in the end, and Crota is Oryx's son. So obviously. Yeah, you fight him and, pisses off Oryx, and then Oryx shows up eventually in the Taken Kin expansion. But Crota was really cool because he had his own mechanics as well, and he was massively huge. Regular, on his regular form, he was massively huge. He had this epic sword, and you had to kind of like fight him with the sword in order to bring him down and do damage for him. So that was a lot of fun. Yes, sir. Which he's really good at guessing a lot of the games that I post up on TikTok. So he's guessed quite a few of them, and he says he loves all 4 of the divine beasts in the Breath of the Wild.
Oh, those are fun.
Yeah, I like
the water one mainly. Like when you get shot up into when he rides up like the waterfall and you have to like slow mo the 4 parts the 2 parts on each side.
Yeah.
That one was my favorite.
Okay.
In Breath of the Wild. But all 4 beasts are pretty fun.
Yeah, they all had their own little things. It was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. But also, I found out the Destiny raid that I was thinking of. I was totally fucking off. It was Axis, the Archon Prime.
Oh, Axis. Yeah, that was. Yeah. Oh man, what was the expansion called? Does it say that there?
Fucking remember. Let me.
Axis. That was the final. That was the final expansion before Destiny 2 came out.
Rise of Iron.
Yes, Rise of Iron. That was with Siva.
Yes.
Yeah. Which they have yet to bring back in Destiny 2. So we don't know what the hell is going on with Siva. And then we got, I cannot pronounce this. Your boy Kazuto. You
just pronounced it.
I hope so. He says, which I love because I haven't played any Infamous game in a long ass time, but Infamous 2, The Beast.
I didn't play any Infamous game.
Oh man. The Infamous game, at least play the first 2. The first 2 are really good, and the stories are connected. But the Beast was like the main antagonist, and you fight him, of course, right at the end. And he's like this giant, like, monster.
I see that. God.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Well, I guess that's it. So yeah, shout outs to those guys. I appreciate the comments you guys left and the support you guys are giving us for the podcast.
What's your least favorite boss battle?
What is your most hated boss battle?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm pretty sure that like we have a few of those.
I'm sure a lot of them are going to be like Demon Souls or Dark Souls shit too. Bloodborne.
From Software is acceptable, but we all know that's supposed to be hard.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, let's try to go outside the box. I'm sure you can find something else. So excluding Sekiro and any From Software stuff. That's definitely a good topic. Hit us up, send us emails, comment on the social media, let us know what your most hated boss battle is. That's going to be
boss
a funny
battle
one.
Made you almost break a control.
Or TV.
Oh god.
Well, we'll leave it at that. Thanks for listening, guys. Randy, you got anything to say before you
go? Thanks for watching. And
they were watching?
Thanks for listening. I'm just assuming that it's on YouTube and they're staring at the screen of whatever you have on.
That's true. Yeah, I just throw in some of our gameplay videos and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So well, not that far fetched.
We'll see you guys.
Bye.